We just can't have anything nice. What's up there, DBF family? So today, we're back on the racing lawnmower. Jason's gonna come out and we are gonna try to get the new frame, rear axle, and steering built on this thing today. So let's get after it. So this right here is pretty much gonna be the donor quad, I guess, for this project. We're gonna use the rear straight axle out of this thing because it's left-hand chain drive, and parts of the front steering, and mainly, well, no suspension, just mainly the steering, to build the new front axle for this project. So the next step is gonna be get the rear swing arm out of that with the rear axle, roll it underneath, do some measuring, and we'll start building the subframe and suspension that goes underneath this. Hello, Jaser.
Howdy, howdy.
He showed up. He's gonna tackle the front end of this thing, and I'm gonna finish grabbing the back end of this thing and pull it out, and we'll get this useless frame out of our hair. And we'll start cutting, welding, measuring, and he's gonna drop the wrench.
Easy now.
Like a pro.
Yeah,
good job.
You know.
Good thing I was wearing my safety protection.
PPE, brother.
I could have died or even worse. Okay. I think we'll just sawzall them, baby.
Sawzall them off?
Yep.
Got that one.
I like the shoulder rest. That's awesome.
Hey. You do what
That's classy.
Do what you gotta, man.
That's classy. Oh yeah.
That side was a lot harder.
Uh-oh. See if you can wiggle that old girl out of there. Maybe. I not got her quite. Oh yeah, she's cut.
Oh, we got her.
Woo, doggy. Perfect. I like it.
There's our steering, boys and girls.
I think we're done with this old junker frame, aren't we?
I washed my hands of this.
All right, done deal. Well, Jason's over there been cleaning up this material. This is gonna be our new front axle. Yeah, I know, it's not brand new, but we're all about recycling around these parts, especially when it comes to metal.
And it's going on a lawnmower. So.
True that. So while he's been doing that, I hole sawed this center pivot bushing out of the old axle, and we'll drill a hole in the center of that one and weld this in, but it'll be kind of on an angle, and that way it'll give us a little bit of caster angle. We'll decide what we're going to do there. I'm thinking right around 7 degrees for, you know, high speed maneuvering.
You bet.
So
super fast.
Yep. While he's doing that, I'm going to go over to the lathe and I'm going to knock these burrs from these old welds off this thing, and by the time I get done with that, he'll be done with that, and we'll plop that baby in the new axle and weld it.
Set her up in there.
Set her on in. Should work out just peachy. Drilled this hole in the front new I-beam axle, I guess, so to speak. That's the piece I machined out. I'm gonna go in, weld that baby in, and then we'll come back and weld the
other end,
the knuckles in on that side, and we'll be good to go. Front axle will be built, then we can worry about the steering and all that good business. But right now, I'm gonna weld that baby in. Shall we?
Send her home.
Send her home.
Send her home.
Glue it in. Make it permanent.
Put a big old fat bead on her.
Big old fat bead. Well, it's permanent.
She's there now.
Yeah, it ain't going nowhere.
Hey!
Yeah, I think that'll do.
Got our pivot.
Got us, still got our front end pivot a little bit. I mean, we're not taking this thing off no sweet jumps, but Got just a little bit of caster angle there, so for high speed maneuvers.
8 whole degrees.
Yeah. Cool.
I like it.
Yeah. We'll cut them control arms up, get them welded on. We'll have an axle in no time. Well, good morning, DBF family. It's another great day here in the shop. It's gonna be a windy, blowy, cold March morning day. So today we're gonna be stuck in the shop. No more riding. I'm about tired of winter. But what we're doing today is we were working on that yesterday on the old racing lawnmower, and where we left off working on this front end. So I came out this morning and cut these kingpins out of the old control arm. So now I'm going to cope those out a little bit, clean these up, and we'll weld those into there, and then we'll start working on steering and get the subframe mounted underneath this thing so we can get the rear axle in this thing, and we'll maybe even test fit the motor in this old girl today. Got a lot to do. Let's get going. Woo, smoky. Love it. All right, well, we officially have a new front axle. So now all I got to do is I'm going to take this front hood mount and actually trim it back so I can take the factory tie rod and lengthen it and hook between the two, and then we'll actually come off of probably this side with basically a pitman arm that comes back over here, and we'll have linkage that comes from here to here that will turn it from here. But before we get into all that, I've got to get the rear axle mounted and get the subframe built, and then we're going to slap that motor in it. Well, we ran into probably one of many first snags. Put both of the front wheels on it. Yeah, this thing's like a monster truck. It's way too tall to do any kind of circle track racing. I mean, it looks cool if we was off-roading, but that's too tall. So we've been scheming around trying to figure out what we're going to do here, and we have a rough plan, I guess. Kind of an idea. Not really. I don't know. We're just going to wing it. So we're just going to cut it back apart, and
You're just going to start cutting on it and see where that takes us, really.
yeah, what he says. That's the beauty about metal. Cut it apart, it don't work, we'll glue it back together. Well, there's the start of the frame, pretty simple. Just took that front section and welded a couple tubes in there, got a cross member in there just for, you know, hold it steady. We're gonna set the body up on this thing and see if it's gonna be about where we want as far as ride height. And we're gonna find some smaller tires to put on this thing, but for now, those are just gonna have to work. But I'll tell you what.
It's turned into more of a project than I thought, for sure.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with 2 wheels instead of 4. 4 wheels, it's not worth it.
We've run into a few problems just
Yeah.
in the last hour.
Yeah,
So.
we've done a lot of figuring. But what do? It's all part of the fun, right? So they say.
No kidding. What do we got going on here, Kev?
So I'm building an adapter for the rear sprocket because the axle we got takes a 420 pitch chain and we got to have a 520 pitch chain And I can't find one, so we're building an adapter to go from one to the other. And this thing's kicking our butt, man. It's been a lot easier if I didn't really care how it turned out, but I wanted to be cool, so this is what we got. We're just gonna build parts, I guess.
These little holes right here will mount to our dirt bike sprocket.
So here, I'll show you.
Yeah.
Like so, ish, in theory.
That way we can run our bigger chain that'll match the front sprocket on.
Golly. What an ordeal.
It's been a day for sure here in the dirt bike fab garage.
I think I'm just gonna go inside and sleep.
We got the sprocket mounted on, all adapted to the axle. Probably the first success we've had.
Oh yeah.
Since
that's taken us
since like what, 10 this morning when I showed up?
Yeah, like 6 hours.
7 hours, yeah. It's
to remedy that.
But
now we can go mount the rear end. Holy cow.
That. It even tracks straight.
Yeah, baby's, I mean, that thing's straighter than a judge, man. I mean, it tracks like a, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it.
I think we did all right though.
Yep, I think we can get this baby mounted now.
Heck yeah.
Done deal. All right, well, we're back at it in the old garage today. And we're back on the old
lawn tractor.
Yeah, lawn tractor. That's what that thing is. Yesterday, Jason and I, we cannonballed over to, wow.
It's off.
Hard hat area. We cannonballed on over to Delta, Colorado, about, what was it, a 850 mile trip.
850 mile trip, yeah.
Did that in about 12 hours. Well, yeah, about 12 hours.
Yeah, 12 hours of driving, 2 hours of loading stuff up. It's 14-hour days. So.
Yeah, we have a buddy that's moved over there about 10 years ago, and he's moving back to the area. You guys have seen him before on the videos. Name's Troy. He's a stud. So anyways, we're back on the lawnmower. We're gonna try to get some things accomplished on this thing today because look, it rained all day yesterday and all night and all morning, and it's not like we can go riding. So yeah, that kind of a bummer.
Never ride dirt bikes ever again.
So we're gonna get the old lawnmower worked on today and see if we can get some progress made on it. So let's get after it. While I'm getting the rear axle put in that thing, Jace is actually gonna pull the new power plant for this thing. And you guys that guessed a CR 500 two-stroke for a power plant, you're winners. I don't know what you get, but you're winners. You're awesome. This bike right here, I built this bike several years ago. I've never ridden it. I know the bike runs. I don't know how well it runs. I'm sure it needs to be, rebuilt. It's probably a little tired, but it's gonna work good for this. So I sold Jace this bike. We're building him a new motor. We're gonna put his motor in this, so that leaves me with an extra CR 500 motor. So that's where this thing's gonna go for now. It's probably not gonna be permanent, but it's gonna be there for now. So he's gonna tear this thing apart, get the motor out of it while I finish the rear axle mount, and we're just gonna continue on this project, see if we can get this thing done in time. It's gonna be really close.
It's gonna be tight.
It's gonna be tight.
I'm just bummed we're not putting a 6.0 power stroke in it.
No,
I'm sad that idea got vetoed.
See, that wasn't too terrible. Da-da-da-da.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, just because gonna have to live just about like that.
I don't hate it.
It's gonna be tight. Okay. All right, so we've got a little bit of a new development here. Look, Jed's here.
I showed up finally.
He showed up and he's had some pretty good input on this thing. And basically, he says what we did sucks and he's gonna change it and make it better. And I'm okay with that.
He hates what we did.
So it's always a good idea, to have a second opinion on this kind of stuff. So he's gonna chop this frame up that we, squared out and made straight and make it better.
We only spend a whole day on it.
Yeah, we suck though. So tell them what you're doing here, Jed. What's your idea?
So to kind of get some different angles for sprocket alignment and height, so it's not so high, and to get the hood lower like you want it, We're gonna kind of do a C-notch of this frame and drop this motor down.
Because lowriders are cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Center of gravity.
Lower center of gravity. I like it.
Should be
Yeah.
Still gonna be sketchy.
So yeah, we're winging it like a lot on this deal. So if it doesn't work at this point, we're gonna blame Jed.
I'll take it.
He says he'll take it. I think it'll be just fine. Always great to have a second opinion.
That one was Jed's fault because the one I measured turned out perfect.
What happened?
I see how that could happen.
Jed did it to me.
Did the tape measure lie? Hey, we did find out though the other
measures
day.
do lie.
Tape measures do lie. I have 2 different brands of tape measures, and they are off.
By like 3/8 of an inch.
Yeah, a lot. So I don't know which one's right. So we're just gonna use that one.
The more expensive one.
What are you doing here?
Well, we see Jed wrote on this one wrong, and so I cut it a 1/4 inch too long. So we got to trim. I mean, this guy
Do you have any defense to this?
cuts our frame in half.
I don't.
and then makes the wrong measurements. I don't know.
I must have measured in metric.
In millimeters?
Yeah, off of a SAE.
He's doing. He's basically making a cradle for the motor to set down in, and that's going to lower. It's going to do a lot of things for us. It's going to help with the chain angle to the rear axle. It's going to drop it so it's not so high. It's going to lower the center of gravity, and it's going to actually help with the fuel tank issues we were thinking we're having.
There you go.
So just a little more clearance there, Clarence.
Clarence?
Clarence.
All right, Jed.
It's Jed's moment of truth here.
If it doesn't work, we're gonna kick you in the teeth.
You see my metric tape measurements
We
match up to my standard measurement?
got the frame dropped right there, tacked in. And we're gonna set the motor in it and see how she lines up with everything.
Not shabby. I mean, just eyeballing it. I mean, I don't hate it. It's closer than it's been in the past, right? Good morning there, DBF family. So, kind of getting a late start this morning on this project because late last night, Jed and I jumped in my truck and we ran down and met Scott from Elevated Services. He's been down here for the record games, and I actually did some horse trading with him and got another dirt bike project. So let's open up the garage door. Let's go show you what I got from him. There she is, little KTM 50 Junior. I don't know much about it. I know what I'm going to want to do with it, but other than that, I don't know a stinking thing about these things other than they're orange and they're 50cc and they don't have a freaking manual clutch on them. So I'll get this thing unloaded and see if it'll run. He told me it ran when he got it, but it's been several years, and heck, I trust Scott. He's about one of the most honest people I've ever met. So we'll get this thing unloaded out of here and see what we can do with it. I've got some pretty big plans for this little bike right here. It's just so dang cute. Oh man, I've got big plans for this little bugger right here. I hope you guys are excited about this project as much as I am. It's just so stinking cute. Look at it. I'm gonna have to see if this thing will pack me around. That's all there is to it. I guess all I gotta say is thanks, Scott. You're the best. Go give Scott a follow. It's at the Hosers, and he's on YouTube, TikTok, and I think Instagram. You're gonna want to follow those guys. They're awesome. So go follow them. They're pretty great. So I pretty much have this motor mounted. All the engine mounts are in it. Gonna have to pull the motor, typical, just to finish welding the places I can't get to. But there's the front mount. Got the bottom mounts, and obviously, like I said earlier, the rear mount. So next step is got to do exhaust. And initially, I was just gonna bolt this thing in here, but since we lowered the motor, that's not gonna work. So what I'm gonna have to do is come along and recut where all these bins are welded together, like down in here, right there, here, here, and here. And the way I think we're gonna have to do it, set that down there, is it's gonna basically come off here, drop down, curve up, and kind of out towards the back. So basically gonna straighten this thing out more or less. I'm not certain how it's gonna work, but I don't feel too bad about cutting up this pipe. I mean, it is an FMF gnarly, which is somewhat hard to get these days, but this thing's been patched and welded, and so I'm not too concerned about cutting this up. I'm not really gonna put this on any bike I own. It's been on a bike I own for years. It's lived its good life on a bike, so I'm gonna chop this thing up, see what we can make out of it. And just like that, that's pretty much how you destroy a perfectly good pipe. Well, perfectly good-ish. Now all I gotta do is put that back together and plumb it the way it needs to be, which I'm not real sure I know the way it needs to be, but I guess we'll figure it out. It's kind of how this whole thing's been. Just go until it works and quit when it doesn't. So that's where we're at. Well, I pretty much got all the exhausts in place here, cut up and welded back together. I didn't get any footage of doing that because couldn't do it one-handed, you know. So it's all tacked together, rearranged. Instead of coming down like I thought, I had to end up coming up high because the kicker was going to be hitting, it would have hit the pipe when we kicked it, so I had to bring it up high like it used to be. But just got to build some silencer mounts now. While I've been doing that, Jace has been building mounts for the radiator to go up front, but things are going to get real tight real quick in the front of this thing because I ain't real certain what we're going to do for steering yet. So we may be doing all this for no good reason. These boys are doing a little auto body work to make the hood fit, so when the tires turn, it doesn't rub the grill. Yeah! And yeah, this is some pretty precise stuff.
She's gonna be fast.
Fast.
Super fast.
Super fast. Well, there she sits with the part of the body on it, I guess, kind of loosely mounted. We still got to build a firewall and floor and floorboards, and hook up steering and brakes, and we got a lot left to do. Like
The essentials.
the essentials. Motor's in it, motor's mounted, rear end's mounted, radiator's in it, exhaust is done, just needs to be pulled off and finished welding on the inside. But other than that, I think she's done for today. Like I said, we're calling her quits. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the rest, I guess.
Come back again.
Don't fall off and die. It's a little wobbly there, bud. It's a little wobbly. Got your safety goggles on for safety.
Yeah, they felt that.
Yeah?
Dude, this thing is gonna be so scary.
It's not good.
Like I don't know if I like.
You don't like it, do you?
It's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's gonna be sketchy for sure.